Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm going to be doing my February wrap up and my March TBR, or like what I would like to get to in March. It's not like a strict I have to read this or I didn't succeed. No, it's just kind of like a baseline of like, oh, like I would like to get to this book and we'll see where it takes me. I'm first though gonna get into my February TBR because February was honestly like a pretty good reading month for me. I was sick with the flu for like a week. Actually, at the beginning of that, I couldn't even read. I was just so like down bad. But after that, I was really in like a funk, in the sense of like I couldn't clean, I couldn't get myself out of bed, so I read a lot. So I read some really good books. Get right into the video because I got a lot to talk about. The first book I would like to mention is this beauty right here. Technically, I read her in a day, but we're gonna count her as February because I read her on July 31st. I'm gonna count her as February because I didn't talk about my January wrap up, and February 1st, January 31st, tomato. So I did end up reading this in 15 hours. This is almost a 900-page book. It was everything I needed. I get like there's mixed reviews. I can see where people are coming from. Me personally, I rated this like 4.5, and I didn't rate it right after I read it. I really had to like sit on this book. This is a book that you definitely have to like let it marinate and let it sit and kind of like remember everything that's going on. And you have to remember, like, this is a Crescent City book. This isn't an ACOTAR book, and you know, so on and so forth. I really don't want to get into it because it is the third book of Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City, and big spoilers, and I don't want to spoil anyone. So if you read the book, you know. This book actually gave me everything I kind of wanted. It answered so many questions but still kept me questioning more, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed Lydia's character arc from when we meet her in the second book to this book. If you know, you know, okay? She was my favorite character in this book. She stole the show for me. I loved it. I ate it up. I also got the Walmart exclusive edition, so my bonus chapter is Azriel, Nesta, and Bryce. Best bonus chapter. I loved it. It was so entertaining, so fun. This book actually made me kind of laugh. Like, even though there'd be like something like dark going on, there was kind of like some dark humor going on. And it's just like, your characters are suffering, but they're being funny. It's the dark humor about it. I don't know. I don't know. 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was so good. Highly recommend. I always recommend picking up my girls' books, okay? Just do yourself a favor. Just do yourself a favor. Thank me later. You don't even... Okay. The next two books that I read in February were the first Magnolia Parks, which I annotated, and the first Daisy Hates, which I also annotated. I did this because, oh, let me get this. Okay. Into the Dark came out. Magnolia Into the Dark. This is the third Magnolia Parks book, and I was just like, I really need to reread. The only book that I had read previously was this one, so this one was a reread, and then I never read this, and I've never read the rest of them in the Magnolia Park series, so this was hard to get through because I think it's my least favorite book in the whole thing, just because, you know, what happens at the end. If you know, you know. Alexa, play Backstabber by Kesha. Okay, I wanted to do sacrilegious things to this book. Okay. But with that being said, I rated it a 4 stars because the writing is impeccable. Jessa just knows how to immerse you in her worlds, and not even like her worlds, but like her characters. Like, you just, they're so raw and so real. Like, even though you hate them and hate half the things they do about them, that's what makes them so real, because in real life it's just something humans do. People are gonna do things that you don't agree with, and or make you feel a type of way you don't like, but that's like human nature. That's just, you know, it's, I don't know if I'm making sense. Am I making sense? You understand what I'm saying. I think you understand what I'm saying. So yeah, I rated this one 4 stars. These 2 books take place at the same time, as well as the next Magnolia Parks book and Daisy Hates book. They take place at the same time too, but you read them like every other. So you read Magnolia Parks, Daisy Hates, Magnolia Parks All the Way Down, and then Daisy Hates, The Great Undoing, and then Magnolia Parks Into the Dark, if that makes any sense. I rated this 5 stars though, because I love Christian hymns. I love Daisy. I'm sorry, Daisy. I love it. The angst in both these books, honestly, I think Jessa Hastings is the queen of angst. And let me tell you, I eat up angst. I love angst. I love it. I really do. But there's a fine line between hate and love, because I almost hate the angst in this, and I love the angst in this. It's confusing. I don't know. This is told from the perspective of Daisy and Christian, where we meet them and we see the conversations kind of in this book from Magnolia and BJ's perspective. But in this book, we get their perspectives, what they were thinking when these conversations were going down. Usually, I don't like reading stuff twice, you know, because they're kind of like the same things, but that's not what you're reading, okay? Let me just preface. You're not reading the same thing twice. There's a couple conversations that you've read in this one that you see in this one, but you see it from different characters, and honestly, I really enjoyed that, because you always want to know what someone's thinking, and I get to do that. So highly recommend these. Love these in February. Perfect. Also, I forget to mention like the kind of preface around Magnolia Parks, just to keep it simple. Think Gossip Girl, ex-London, ex kind of like London Mafia, ex socialites, modeling, mansions, nice cars. Just think all of that. That's what this is. Okay, that's what this is. Next up, I got this really anticipated new release that came out also in February, and it is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is kind of like an Omegaverse fan fiction. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's kind of hard to explain. Vampires, werewolves, arranged marriages. She's a vampire, he's a werewolf. Honestly, if I want to give my honest opinion, I give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I know a lot of people loved it. I did like it. I really did enjoy it. Like, if I didn't enjoy it, I would have DNF'd it. Like, I really don't read below. Like, if a book is 1 star, 2 star, I'm not finishing it. Like, I'm just not. So, yeah. It's an arranged marriage, vampire, werewolf, Omegaverse. If you don't know what Omegaverse is, just take your time to look it up. It's really like a fan fiction type of esque writing, but Ali Hazelwood published hers, and it was pretty good. It was, I don't really remember, like, it was kind of forgettable to me, if that made sense. I just read so many books this month that, like, this one kind of, like, flew under the radar for me. But I know a lot of people reviewed this, and they loved it, so if you're into that kind of stuff, there you go. I mean, it was pretty a cool read. The one thing I did like about this book is that it's basically in all of her perspective, but at the top of each chapter, it's his thoughts about her. Like, you just get like a little snippet of like what he's thinking about her at the top of every chapter. So I thought that was a pretty cool way to write the story. Yeah, if you want something just like a little vampire-y, little wolfy stuff going on. Also, she has purple eyes, which is, I love that. Like, look at the cover. I will say the cover, this Barnes, like, is gorgeous. Like, whoever designed this, 10 out of 10 stars. Love it. So that's all I have for the physical copies. Everything else I read on Kindle. The next book I have is called Kid by Jessie Hall. This is kind of like a standalone. It is a standalone, but it coincides with Hawk by Jessie Hall. I read Hawk the month before, so I'm not really gonna include Hawk in this. Hawk though was, I loved it. And Kid is kind of like the next book about characters we met in the first one, And I will say, check your trigger warnings on this one. It's not a dark romance, but there's just some heavy topics talked about, like drug use and etc, 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 and you know, dealings with addiction and all that stuff. I found it to be very entertaining, but these characters have like a lot of emotional trauma, and like both of them, the girl and the guy, hard for me to get through, in a sense of, you know, you just want your characters to have a happy ending, and for a minute there I just didn't know if they were gonna have a happy ending. I rated this like 4 stars. It was so great. I loved the writing. I think I love Hawk better, but that's just me. Okay, it was a great standalone spicy romance. Next book was honestly one of my favorite reads on this list so far, and I haven't seen many people talk about this book. I mean, I got the recommendation off of TikTok, but it wasn't off of like a really popular TikTok, you know. I didn't like, not many people have talked about it. This book is called Aggro, and it's written by 2 authors, Coralie June and Carrie Gray. This book is basically kind of like, it's a romance book, obviously. It's contemporary romance with a little bit of murder mystery and scandal in a surfing town, which I ate up. I ended up reading another surfing book, which I'll get into after this. Something about, people are talking about hockey romances, football romances. Guys, where are the surf romances? Because I ate this book up because they surf together, and I loved it. I ate it up. We need more surf books. I need people, I need authors, I need y'all to get on it. Boys that surf. Yeah, even the girl too. The girl in the surfs and the guy in the surfs. It's also kind of like a love triangle a little bit. The premise is this girl goes to a party with her best friend, and she has been kind of crushing on her best friend's brother for years, and at this party the cops show up. She wants to leave, and the best friend says, my boyfriend will take you home, like I'm gonna stay and find my brother. So her boyfriend takes her home, like her best friend's boyfriend takes her home, and that's who also is in the love triangle, because that night the best friend, they end up finding her, you know. So the 3 of them are kind of like suspicious, not suspicious of each other, but the brother is suspicious of the boyfriend, and you watch her kind of get close with the boyfriend, and you realize just a lot of things. And let me tell you, when you figure it out, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And there's like diary entries from the best friend that she left, and it was kind of a crazy read, I'm not gonna lie. It was really entertaining, really good. I think I gave this like a 5-star read for me, because I was just highly entertained. I was never bored. Had the right, she ended up with the guy I wanted her to end up with. And I don't know, it just ended great. There's like an extra extended epilogue, and when I tell you I gasped, when I tell you the plot twist had me gasping, I was like shook. So I highly recommend it. I haven't seen it really anywhere, so get on it because it deserves the hype. The next book I read is also a has surfing in it, and it's like taking place in like a surf town, which I just love the vibes. I think also it's because summer and spring are like here and right around the corner, so just reading these like surfing, ocean, beachy aesthetic books has really put me in a great mood. Okay, I've thoroughly enjoyed them. The next one I read is called The Summer We Fell by Elizabeth O'Rourke. Right here. I gave this a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It's basically, is it a love triangle? Is it not? Just know that there's kind of like a lot of religious trauma in this, with the main girl and her trying to find herself, and she's had a really tough upbringing, and her boyfriend's family, who her boyfriend's father is like the pastor of their town, takes her in. And one summer, like during college, her boyfriend brings home this guy who like surfs, and he's really good at it and he really wants to go pro, and they meet when they're like 18. And this takes course over like 7 to 10 years. Like you get then chapters and then you get now chapters, then chapters, now chapters, dual timeline POVs of when they were teenagers and like what happened and like why they haven't talked in so long and then why they're brought back together. And I'm meeting the boyfriend's best friend and her. So very angsty, very just like, whoa, a lot of things going on in this book. I highly recommend. If you just want like a beach read, but also drama, romance, dual timeline, happy ending, pick up this book. I highly recommend it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and for the last book I read in February, because I think I read a total of 8 books. This is the last book I read. It was a dark romance, and let me tell you, I've been off my dark romance train for a minute. I was like back in Florida, there was like a month there that I literally only read dark romance, but you really gotta be in the state of mind to read dark romance. Listen, I get it, girlies. I get it. I get it, okay? I get it. Next book I read was called The Ritual by Chantel Tessier, I think. I gave this like a 3.754 stars. It was a very interesting concept around which the book is based upon, like this world. It's basically this like, it's like a secret society called the Lords, and these guys, it's at this college, and the Lords have ladies, and there's just a bunch of dark stuff going on and spicy stuff going on. And while very entertaining, and let me tell you, do not read that book out of the gate. If you don't read, don't pick that one up as your first one to read, okay? Go through all my other recommendations. I mean, the book has like a page full of trigger warnings before you read it. Like, what? It's something you definitely have to be in the right state of mind for. So just putting that out there. But it was really good. It was really entertaining, I guess. And that's really what I read books for. I'm not reading books to become this like critic of, you know, and first judger. I don't know if that's the right wording. You know what I mean. I'm just here to read good books and good stories that entertain me, make me laugh, or, you know, make me want to cry. Because sometimes you just need a good cry. But yeah, if you're a dark romance girly and you haven't read The Ritual, which I highly doubt because everyone and their mom has read this book, go ahead and pick that one up. Alright, we can finally get into my March TBR, or just kind of what I'm hoping to read in the month of March, because at the end of the day I am a mood reader, so I'm just going to read whatever I'm in the mood for at the time. I'm not going to force myself, but these are the books I would like to get to and hopefully want to get into. Obviously the next, let me get this one too. Obviously I would love to finish the Magnolia Park Stacey Hates universe. I obviously started the first 2 in February, so I would love to finish the rest of these books. These are the published versions that you get at like the store. These are like these used to be like her self-published, and you can only get them from like the UK now. Which is so sad because they're my favorite covers ever. They're just like amazing. They're beautiful. So by Jessa Hastings, this one would be a reread. I wanted to read it this month, and it is Never by Jessa Hastings. I pretty sure I talked about it in a couple videos ago about how much I love this book, and like I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I read it in December. I literally have it like this set up on my bookshelf, and I just stare at it sometimes, and I just think about it constantly. So I think I want to reread it because I read it on my Kindle originally, and then I bought the paperback. So I think I want to reread it and like annotate it and I don't know. I love a good reread. Sometimes you just want to, like, what's the point of having your favorite books and not rereading them? So that is definitely on my March TBR. Another book I wanted to get to this month is The Housemaid. I really have been like eyeing this. Thrillers, I don't think I've ever read a thriller book in my life, but I really enjoy thriller TV and movies. So I always love trying to see if I can figure it out before I get to the end or get to the plot twist. So I think I've been eyeing it this past month. I think this is the month that I read it. I know there's like I think there's like another book after this too. I don't know. I just think it's gonna be really entertaining and something I definitely want to get to in March. I want to get to this book that I've kind of seen around TikTok. I haven't seen it too much, but I have seen it, and it's called The House of Bane and Blood by Alexis L. Minivard. Sorry if I butchered that. I'm really bad at names. I'm sorry. But this, from what I picked up when people are talking about it, it's like fantasy meets Peaky Blinders. That's all I needed to know. Okay? If you've seen Peaky Blinders, you know. And if you haven't, do yourself a favor. Go get a snack. Go sit down on your little cozy couch or your bed. Grab a blanket, grab your snack, grab a drink. Turn on Netflix and turn on Peaky Blinders. Just do yourself a favor. Okay? Yeah, so when I heard this book kind of gives Peaky Blinders-esque London meets fantasy, I was sold. I was like, definitely need to add this to my TBR, so that is something I'm hoping to get to in the month of March. Okay, for the last book I want to get into, which kind of like continuing series, I'm currently in like, I'm already... That's upsetting. I hate when I drop stuff on the floor. Anyways, continuing. I've already started, as you can see. I'm 232 pages in. I want to reread the ACOTAR series because I've read all of her books now, and I've annotated all of them, but I haven't annotated this. And honestly, it was so entertaining so far reading this because I haven't reread this book since I first read it when I was 15. I'm 23 now, okay? Like, that's insane. I've never read the book, you know, from A Court of Thorns and Roses to A Court of Silver Flames in like one sitting in one go. So this is definitely something I've already started this month, as you can see, and I'm going to be continuing because I can. And you can sit there and say, that's all you're talking about. Okay. I mean, I spent money on these books. I'm gonna reread them. I'm gonna talk about them. I clearly love them. So, yeah. Okay, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my books that I read and that I'm hoping to read. I think I had a pretty good reading month. 8 books. It's pretty solid. I need to update my Goodreads. Hopefully I've updated it by the time you're seeing this video, so, and I'm gonna try really give better reviews on Goodreads. That's a goal of mine this year with reading and Goodreads in general, is that I want to give my like better opinions about the books that I'm reading. So hopefully you can see that by the time this video is up, and I just hope you guys enjoyed sitting down with me. I hope you had a good snack, a good drink, you know, and enjoyed some of the books that I talked about. I hope that you pick up a book and get lost in a story and escape into wherever you want to go. It's a fun thing to do, and it's a therapeutic thing to do. I highly recommend. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. I'll be responding to you guys' comments. Love you. Bye.